شكرا يا ربي شكرا
There is a topic that I wanted to speak about that has come to my attention, and that is about the importance of nikah, the importance of marriage in Islam. And the reason why I wanted to speak about nikah, especially now, is because there is a certain thing or a certain mentality that is going around in different cultures within the Muslim Ummah, whether it be here or whether it be back home in different countries, and that is that people are delaying the nikah. And specifically I'm speaking about the mentality that people want to have lavish gatherings and have great big gatherings and celebrations, and because they are not able to do so, that they are saying we'll delay until things get better. Well, my dear brothers, we have to understand the importance of nikah, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made nikah a very blessed bond for this ummah. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has encouraged us to get married. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told the young people, he said that if you are able to get married, then do so. And if you're not able to get married for a legitimate reason, then fast. Because fasting will act as a means for protection. But if you have the means, then you should get married. And that means that do not delay the marriage. The Prophet ﷺ said, "An-nikahu min sunnati, faman raghiba an sunnati falaysa minni." That the nikah is from my prophetic way, the sunnah, my example. And the one who goes against my example is not from us, is not from me. On the Day of Judgment, we want to visit and meet the Prophet ﷺ, and we want the Prophet ﷺ to be pleased with us. On the Hawd al-Kawthar, when we are, insha'Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to drink from the pool of Kawthar, from the blessed hands of Rasulullah ﷺ, we want the Prophet ﷺ to welcome us. There will be a people that the Prophet ﷺ will not welcome them, and he will be upset with them. And the Prophet ﷺ told us that those people will be the people who went against his sunnah. He said, these are the people who changed their ways. They went against my way. So one of the ways of the Prophet ﷺ and many of the prophets before him, ﷺ, peace and blessings upon all of them, is the way of nikah. Nikah is a fortitude. Marriage is a fortitude. It is a protection from the desires of the nafs, and from the evils and the fawahish and the temptations, especially those that we face in our society at large. So nikah is a protection. So my dear brothers, and if there are any sisters listening, whoever is listening to my message, we should convey this message to our contacts and our relatives and our friends and families, that if there is a nikah, and especially if you have already have a proposal, a good proposal for yourself or for your daughters or for your sons, then do not delay the marriage just because you want to have a lavish gathering. Fulfill the nikah and fulfill the shari'i requirements of the nikah, right? And do not delay in getting the nikah done and performing the nikah according to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And we know that according to the sunnah, there is no need for a lavish gathering and for hundreds of thousands of dollars to be spent, right? And for these luxuries to be bought and these lavish things and these overspending to be taken place. But it is not a hard thing to do in Islam, as long as we follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and the requirements in the sharia. The nikah is an easy thing, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our religion has made it easy. The Prophet ﷺ said, a person who has performed the nikah has taken care of half of his religion. So that person who has done nikah has performed half of their deen, has taken care of half of their deen. And the Prophet ﷺ said, now they should make sure that they preserve and be careful in the rest of the second half of their deen. So why do you want to delay when the Prophet ﷺ said that the nikah is half of your religion, you're taking care of half of that? Why would you delay such a thing just to have a lavish gathering? Why? Because there is a mentality amongst the culture. It's a cultural concept that we want to have a lavish gathering, we want to spend lots of money, we want to be very luxurious when we perform a nikah. My dear brothers, you know what the mahr of Sayyidah Fatima radiallahu anha was? it was 400 pieces of silver. Sayyidatuna Fatima al-Zahra, radiyallahu anha, the daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sayyidatu Nisa'i Ahli al-Jannah, you know, the leader of the women of paradise. And look at her, the simple mahar that she had. And she was radhi, she was pleased with that. And nowadays, our sisters, our daughters, when they're getting married, they're demanding such a high mahar, and they're demanding such a high thing. They should think, one of the scholars mentioned, are you more worthy than Sayyidah Fatima? That you're demanding such a high? Are you more beautiful than her? Are you more deserving than her? Are you the leader of women in paradise, or is she the leader of women in paradise? Simplicity. Islam is simplicity. Islam doesn't make things difficult. Islam is there to make things easy for us. And such a beautiful thing of nikah should not be made difficult, especially in our times. Because shaitan doesn't want us to do nikah. Shaitan wants us to fornicate, shaitan wants us to do zina, shaitan wants us to look at pornography, shaitan wants us to, he wants us to soil our hearts so we cannot worship Allah. He wants to ruin our connection to Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And what is a great fortitude and stronghold against that plan of shaitan is nikah. Is the bond of marriage, the halal way of fulfilling our desires and the halal way of fulfilling our need as human beings of companionship. It's also a companionship. Nikah is not just the physical aspect of it. It's a spiritual thing. It's an emotional thing, right? And there is more blessing in the nikah. A person who has performed the nikah is more blessed in the eyes of, in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. One example, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, one unit of worship performed by a person who has done the nikah is 70 times more than a rak'ah performed by a non-married person. SubhanAllah. When you become married, then the blessings increase, your ranks increase in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even your ibadat has more value in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, facilitate the nikah within our ummah, and that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove this mentality that we have to have lavish gatherings or delay this beautiful sunnah of nikah just because we want to show off the luxuries that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. We should not do so. We should fulfill the Sharia requirements and get the nikah done. And we should convey this message to others. We should not be scared to do this because it might be difficult because we're going against the cultural mentality. It's always difficult to go against the cultural mentality in society. But when you do, the reward is great because you're setting a trend. Then people will look at you and say, look, this person, he followed the sunnah. And he made it easy to do nikah. We don't have to make it difficult and wait and delay. Right? Every day that you delay, shaitan is there. Shaitan is waiting for a chance to steal the iman of the people, to steal our faith. Right? So why do we want to give him the chance to steal our faith and the faith of our children? Right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our gathering here. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our du'as and our noble intentions. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
شكرا يا ربي شكرا هديت قلبي شكرا نورت دربي شكرا شكرا